It is not only Governor Fauci that is not or having problem with the decision of the governor. His party, the People's Democratic Party, has released a statement over the matter. They say it is alarming. The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Kola Ologbondiyan, said the party was alarmed by the manipulative plot by the APC administration to secure approvals without recourse to due process and for purposes of fighting the same insurgencies it claimed to have since defeated. Well, it is also important to note at this point that the presidency says the money has not been yet approved by NEC just yet. The Zamfara State Governor Abdulaziz Yari suggested that the money be withdrawn to fight insurgency, but still subject to approval. Now let's get perspectives on this one, everyone. $1 billion. That is the amount of money. For some of us who are not very familiar, my mathematics is not very good. I know it's way over 300 billion naira. Well, what does this mean? Is it legally or constitutionally correct, or is it politically correct to take that decision? What does it mean for the nation's economy? Don't forget, one of the governors did say there is $2.3 billion in the excess crude account. So if you take $1 billion, do the math, it's going to we will have 1.3 billion naira left. Let's get perspective to this now. Mr. Monday Ubani is a lawyer, is the second vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association. He joins me now in the studio to give us a sense of what all this means. Thank you so much, Mr. Ubani, for joining us on the program.
Sure, it's my pleasure.
Does the NEC have the powers to do that in the first place? The excess crude account, it's been a lot of controversy over that, that process, that system. From what we heard, or from what has been the decision that was taken, what can you make of it?
Well, I know as a fact that there is no law presently backing the issue of excess crude account. There is no law enacted in Nigeria today that actually specify the central objective of that particular account. I'm also not ignorant of the fact that Senate, have on several occasions called for the abolition of that account because it does not have any law backing it. But from what we have gathered concerning that account, is an account that is open for the sake of, we have a benchmark, for the crude oil price. Anything that is in excess of that amount is usually put in an account for any day. And that money is supposed to be meant for the three tiers of the government. I mean, the local government, the state, and of course the federal. We are also not ignorant of the fact that there is a constitutional provision that says before you spend any money in this country today, it must go through an account, and that account must undergo a process of appropriation. I mean, by way of legislative appropriation, the National Assembly must appropriate that money before you spend. So if this amount that is meant for the three tiers of the government is now being spent or being approved by only two of the three, that shows something is fundamentally wrong about it.
Isn't the governors representing all the tiers, the state and the local government at NEC? Local governments are not represented at NEC.
I agree with you, but that's what I'm saying, that if there is no representation of the local government area in that particular NEC, then they don't have any right whatsoever to approve, to spend that money that is meant for the entire 3 tiers of government.
But
that is fundamental.
I mean, the cause, fighting insurgents, that's a major thing.
That's
the agenda of this government tops, it tops security, fighting insurgency, tops it. Is that really noble?
Now, if the government has given us a very good account that they have decimated, they have reduced the potency of the insurgency in the northeast. And recently, CNN even confirmed it that Nigeria is no longer a potentially dangerous country that is being terrorized by the insurgents. I mean, I believe that account. Then it does not make any sense for me to hear that this same government that have actually decimated the potency of the Boko Haram is now taking $1 billion in order to fight the same Boko Haram you have decimated. Now, if it is in that time that the entire environment was so unconducive and crisis of Boko Haram was all over the place that you have talked about, withdrawing this amount in order to decimate, in order to reduce their potency. It makes sense to me. But if we have actually decimated them, if we have actually reduced their potency, then you need a proper explanation as to why you are taking 1 billion in order to fight a cause that, according to you, you have reduced their potency. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't tally.
It seems to be that similar stance of the PDP, which says, look, it looks to them that the approval to remove that money, or the decision to get that kind of money does not make sense if you say you've decimated Boko. But look, a lot of the time, security issues, a lot of things are not open to the public, which perhaps some of these governors are aware of. And they say that in intelligence, the issues of buying more equipment, isn't it just commonsensical to do that if the governors think it's necessary? And these are the governors agreeing to it.
Yeah, we must be very conscious of the environment in which we are in. Now, if you remember vividly that when President Jonathan was leaving, almost on the verge of leaving government, he also applied for a loan of $1 billion in order to fight the cause of insurgents also in the Northeast. That money was given approval by the National Assembly. And up to today, we don't have records of what has transpired concerning that. And since this government came in, the government has actually, showed some level of potency in fighting Boko Haram. As much money has been made available, the budget of 2016, that of 17, and even the current budget. If you look at the Ministry of Defense, they have so much also in the course of fighting these insurgents. So if you are now specifically taking 1 billion, after you have made provision for defense, after you have made provision for the fight against Boko Haram in many other ways. Remember, there was this also the Northeast Development
Commission.
Yes, a Commission Act that was signed into law this year by the President, where so much money also was set available, made available in order to ensure that you reconstruct the environment, that has been devastated. I mean, it's ongoing. And you are now coming in now to take 1 billion out of the treasury. For God's sake, Nigerians and the civil society and the journalists, we're entitled to ask questions. What we are demanding for is actually transparency. We are demanding for accountability. I've given you account of the fact that 1 billion will have actually been approved by National Assembly for the last administration, and we have not gotten an account. And so much money has gone into this fight, and we have not been given any account. And you're now taking $1 billion in order to fight the same cause. Nigerians are now demanding. It has nothing to do with criticism. If the government is doing well, whether it concerns A party or B party, we do not care. What we care is for Nigeria. We demand accountability. We demand transparency in everything that the government, whether present or past, is doing. So over this particular cause, I am not yet satisfied by the reasons advanced, by the governor that spoke on behalf of the governors yesterday for this $1 billion that they are withdrawing or approving in order to fight this particular insurgent that you have decimated, whose potency you have reduced considerably. So there is no justification. So we demand, unless they explain in a manner that Nigerians will be convinced, I would rather ask the federal government at this point in time to put a hold, to withdrawal or approval of this money, because it does not in any way make any sense whatsoever. Nigerians are not satisfied.
There are more issues of bigger priority that money could be used for?
There are so many. Of course, you are aware that the economic situation in Nigeria today is not too conducive. I mean, people are out of job. We are talking about, industries. We are talking about making the economy to be buoyant for people to feed 3 square meals a day. We are talking about the situation where the basic infrastructures are suffering. The roads are not there. The issue of light and all that. So you need so much money in order to make our country to be a functional country. So if we don't have any reason for taking that 1 billion, we're asking them to put a hold to it and ensure that this money, explanation and more explanation.
There is an angle which the governor of Ekiti State put into it. He said, look, these monies are looking so much like monies that are being kept for 2019. Is that kind of criticism valid at this point in our nation?
I only agreed with Fayose in asking question. But his allegations most times are clearly unfounded. I don't know how he has his facts. But I think that one thing I am saying, I don't know what they want to use the money for, They have told us they want to use it for this, but I'm saying that, look, there is no justifiable reason for actually withdrawing 1 billion for fighting an insurgency that you have actually decimated. Whether they want to use it for political reasons, 2019, I don't have the facts. And this is a national television. I cannot make such an allegation if I don't have my facts.
With the history of the probe into how monies were spent in the past administration and some of the revelations of how monies were looted meant to fight insurgency, what would you suggest?
I think that the security agencies, including the EFCC, they must be up and doing in ensuring that we don't fall into the same error we have fallen over the years in allowing money from the treasury that belongs to the public to be used for political reasons.
I mean, even money for security
purposes. I'm telling you,
to fight insurgency.
For God's sake. You know, of course, we have also said that this issue of fight against insurgents, most times it's like people are really lining up their pocket. They aggravate the fight. They make it look as if it's something that we cannot in any way, you know, decimate and then probably have an end to it.
All right.
And so we must end this fight. We must not spend Nigerians' money in a manner that looks as if we are reckless. I mean, this is very important for us.
We'll take a moment, Mr. Obani. When we come back, we will talk about Nigeria's politics. It looks so much to me that 2019 fever is here. Everyone, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.